Hi, I'm Pam and I'm here to talk about retro video games. Sometimes my love of FMV is rough and takes me to some dark places. Today, I'm reviewing Double Switch. Double Switch was developed by Digital Pictures and released for the Sega CD in 1993, and later, in 1995, for the Sega Saturn and PC. This review is specifically on the Sega Saturn version. Double Switch is an interactive movie game and is the spiritual successor to Night Trap. Like Night Trap, the gameplay is based around watching scenes play out and protecting characters by trapping bad guys. The game takes place in the Edward Arms, a tacky Egyptian-themed apartment building which is rumored to be the home of hidden treasure, and the rest of the story is revealed slowly.
Hey you! I need your help.
In Act 1, you're introduced to Eddie, who's played by Corey Haim. It seems like troubled child actors are drawn to FMV like flies to honey.
Hey. Hi. My name is Eddie. I need your help.
Eddie has filled the Edward Arms with traps in order to protect it from burglars, but someone has locked him in the basement. He tells you about his traps and tasks you with finding the code to get him out. You'll see story segments between different characters in the game, whether it's Debbie Harry's Cleopatra-esque apartment owner, Lee Ermey's handyman, or various guests in the hotel who are up to everything between jam sessions and archaeology discussions.
You spying on me?
Also, like Night Trap, there's a huge disconnect between the story and the mechanics. You'll be watching a scene, trying to figure out what's going on, and then you'll be alerted of enemies in another room. You'll have to switch your view to that other room to catch them, meaning you miss the story bits. To make things even worse, the method of trapping is more complicated than it was in Night Trap, and relies on memorization, one of my least favorite things in games. In Double Switch, each room can have multiple traps, so it's not just a matter of a meter turning red and hitting the button at the right time. Instead, you have to know which trap the baddie is near, which you can tell on a map if you pause the game to look at it. Then you need to prime the trap by pressing the correct 3 buttons, then trigger it when the baddie is in the correct position. Prime too many traps and they'll overload, resetting them all. There are certain things that can lose the game for you. In Act 1, missing one of the codes you need results in a game over. Throughout the game, letting one of the bad guys shut off the main power also results in a game over. Unless you have a thing for getting berated by 80s actors, this can get quite frustrating.
Get to the power box, and now we're all cut off.
In Act 2, there are even more ways to lose. At certain points in the game, the handyman, who you were earlier encouraged to trap as often as possible, shouldn't be trapped, as he will show you extra traps in certain rooms. If you miss seeing any of these, whether by trapping him or just missing the scene, you won't be able to save key characters later, and, you guessed it, game over. One positive thing is that the UI is more useful, and there's a map overlay that will let you know when there are enemies or friendlies in certain rooms.
Eddie's so-called security system is actually just a perverse extension of his own insecurity.
Green dots indicate friendly characters are present, red indicates thugs, while orange tells you there's some other kind of intruder in the room. Seeing both green and orange in the same room means you should attend to it quickly, as someone is in danger. Another change from Night Trap that really makes the game worse is that there's no clock to tell when events are happening. While in Night Trap you could get through it by taking down the timestamps of everything that was happening so you could follow it again later, in this game that's impossible. You can save your game between acts, so you don't have to start the whole game over again every time you lose, which will probably be often, but for some reason, you're only allowed to use this save file 5 times, and if you die more than that, then you have to go back to the beginning again. This seems unnecessarily punishing. While I appreciate that Double Switch tried to add more to the gameplay than Night Trap offered, it still falls into the same trap of having the mechanics be at odds with the story. Also, the extra complexity they added to the traps really just results in more frustration. Double Switch doesn't even have the history of controversy that Night Trap has to make it a little bit more interesting. Sadly, this is not a game I can recommend.
You're not getting the code numbers, so I'm just gonna have to find someone else who can. Bye-bye.
That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.